Good morning. I'm talking to Dr. Saeed Mentak from Mohammed I University in Morocco. And I would like to ask you a few questions, Saeed, about your beliefs. Could you tell me something about your beliefs and the role they play in your life?
First of all, I'm really glad to be here, and thank you so much for your hospitality. And I'm very happy that we have this kind of collaboration together with my university and yours, and I think it's a very good start. Well, my beliefs, I'm a Muslim, and I think that belief is not just limited uh, to theory, but it should be applied in real life, which means that somebody who is religious, he's not really forced to tell people that he's religious, but I think, as we say, actions speak louder than words, which means that he must be a good person with everybody, whether he's in his own country or outside his own country. And most of the time people think that a belief can be so destructive, but I don't believe that. I think a belief makes of a person a whole being, and at the same time a peaceful being.
Okay. So for you, Islam, what is Islam about?
Islam, as the name indicates, it means peace.
Yes.
And happily, some people have made of this name a frightening word, a frightening belief, which is not the case. Because if so many people interpret the text in a certain way, a positive way, this doesn't mean that when few people misinterpret Islam, doesn't mean that they represent Islam.
Okay.
They do not. Because people who read the whole history from start to the 21st century, the history of Islam, they will notice, either they are Muslims or not, they will notice that there is a very positive development of peaceful communication with others, development of wishing good to other people, to other humans, because we have a verse in the Quran that says that God has created us, different peoples, different cultures, and the aim is to know each other. And at the same time, the best ones of us are those who have got belief. Okay, it means those who believe in God. So the question of terror, I think, is completely outside the Islamic thought or the Islamic community. And I think that even a Marxist can be a terrorist.
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with religion.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were saying that religious belief for you is quite simple. It's not abstract, it's not theoretical. It's very simple. It's everyday.
It is everyday, it is, and I think we have some Muslims in my society who do not know anything about the Quran or anything about the Hadith, and yet they are good Muslims. They do their prayers regularly, they help the poor, and as we say in my country, Islam is in the heart.
Okay.
Which means that just an illiterate old woman can be a very good Muslim.
Okay.
And we have a kind of anecdote, an old lady who was told how to respect certain Islamic rules. She did not understand them because she was illiterate, and she said, she pronounced her name, or let's say Khadija, and she said Khadija knows Allah and Allah knows Khadija.
Okay.
So that's very, very simple. I think complication comes from interpretation. We interpret things in different ways, and we have so many interpretations to the extent that a person is completely lost. When you check the Islamic channels, for example, you will see so many people speaking about so many things, and for a simple person, when he's watching these people, he doesn't know where Islam is. Okay. So I think the best way is, we have the Quran, the Hadith, and a person can even understand these two texts just by himself, the way he understands them, provided his understanding or her understanding is positive. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at the heart of the Islamic faith is
Mm.
peace and love.
Yes,
You were saying love is key within Islam.
it is.
Yes, could
Yeah.
you say something more about that?
Yeah, but first of all, some people most of the time say, but well, this is not true because Islam was kind of spread by the sword or something like that. But I think that's one misinterpretation, because the Prophet used to say to the rulers, to send them a letter to the rulers, telling them there are some people inside, in your kingdom who might be interested in Islam. So either you let me go in peacefully to tell them about that without forcing them, or if you prevent me, I will have to use force. Okay, because the Prophet, was sure that Islam was the message, and therefore all humanity, because Islam was sent for all humanity, and therefore all people should know
Okay.
about that. Okay, whether you decide to believe or not, that's your own problem. But you should know, first of all. You have to have a knowledge of that. So, of course, Islam is love. Many people in Islamic societies try to show this, and most of the time you see that through their actions, the way they help people, the way they think of people, because the Prophet says that a Muslim should always be positive in his actions and in his words and in his thoughts.
Okay.
So to be positive, I think, and this is based on love, of course. So I think this is basically the heart, I think, of any religion, and I don't think that I have ever met a real religious person who does not embody this noble feeling of love.
Okay. Many of the teachers teaching about Islam in
Mhm.
schools are not Muslims themselves, and many of the children learning about Islam are not Muslims.
Mhm.
So can you say something about the challenges perhaps of teaching about a belief system that you don't belong to and perhaps that you're not expert in? Have you any thoughts on that as a Muslim?
Yes. Personally, I don't mind if that teacher teaches about Islam, whether he's Catholic or Jewish,
Atheist
whatever,
or-
or atheist or whatever.
Yeah.
Provided he is or she is, unbiased and telling people what the text is. But again, there is another problem, is that with the big number of books written on Islam, and the many groups that have unhappily, kind of distracted people from the holy text. I think for a person who is outside the Islamic culture, may find it difficult to choose which let's say which ideas to teach and which he shouldn't or he mustn't show people, because there are so many things to talk about, and maybe if the teacher has done a lot of research in the field and he's or she is quite aware that this is if you like, the dominant path in Islamic studies, I think that would be fine. There would be no problem.
The teachers tend to look at the 5 pillars of Islam, the Quran,
Yep.
the life of the Prophet Muhammad. They tend to look at it. Tends to be quite basic,
Yep.
prayer.
Mhm.
But are you happy with continuing like that, or do you think it's very important to
Yeah.
learn from Muslims, to talk to Muslims, to
Yes.
see the nuance of Islam,
Yes. Yeah.
to look at developments?
Yeah. Well, I think the 5 pillars, whatever, these are useful for someone who wants to convert.
Okay.
But if you want to know Islam, I think there is, Islamic philosophy, Islamic thinking in general, there's Islamic literature, Islamic poetry, Islamic love relationship.
Yeah.
And I know of a scholar, an Islamic scholar, who wrote a book on how to love your
Yes.
wife and how to, to have that kind of intimate relationship with her, because we think that Islam is simply, prayer
God.
and
Yeah.
you are severe. No, Islam is, I think there are, somebody wrote, a French writer, I don't remember the title of his book, but he wrote about I think 100 words that are used in the Quran just about love.
Okay.
So Islam is I think what the Islam that we should be teaching is this Islam that focuses on communication,
Okay.
on knowing other cultures, on exchanging ideas, on how to travel to my country and how I travel to your country, and how to be hospitable towards somebody coming to your country or to your house, and the same again when I go. I don't want people, for example, to see me as a kind of stereotype for violence or whatever. And I don't like what happens, for example, sometimes that when you are walking down the road and somebody sees you from far, he or changes the way. You know, it's as if it's a bomb walking. Now that's negative. So I think this is the Islam that should be taught. It is social. It is human, and I think all religions should contribute to that.
Okay, Dr. Saeed, thank you so much for sharing the
welcome.
complexity and the richness of Islam with us today.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.